Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I wanted to show you my little play area that I'm just so in love with. This is a greenhouse that I ordered from Amazon, and it comes with a plastic or vinyl or some sort of material cover that is not on it right now because it would just simply be too hot. I put the frame together and I'm using it as a growing area for seedlings and plants that are established. I wanted to show you the gourd. I love growing gourds. You can hear the AC unit in the background. I'm sorry about that. But look at this sweet little gourd. There's one there. There it is. I think that's the only two right now. I'm really mad at myself for not coming out last night and getting a video because we had some beautiful blooms, pretty and white and big, and of course they're shriveled up this morning. But let's go inside and I will show you, well look, what do you know, there's a spider. I haven't seen him until now. Hey there, dude. We are in a heat wave. It is so hot out here right now. So let me get in here and show you what I've done to make this frame more sturdy. It's a really inexpensive greenhouse. They're not meant to last forever, and they don't last forever. But I've had one in the past and I liked it. What I did with this one, I took zip ties and tied the shelf, every shelf, in 6 places to make it hold more weight. Since I work at a reuse center, I'm able to get scrap pieces of metal like tent stakes and even heavy curtain rods to, like you can see this one, this is at the front of the greenhouse. I drive them into the ground and then zip tie them to give the greenhouse just more structure. It looks like I didn't get this one close to the post, but it is because there is a plastic piece at the bottom that kept me from getting any closer. It still works. I love this mountain mint. Let me show you the honeybees love this plant. And that will help pollinate everything else. It helps with the gourds. This is the first time I've seen bees like this in the garden. I know mint can be invasive, but I love that I'm seeing this new growth at the bottom, and I'm definitely going to plant more of this or help it to spread in containers so that I always have lots of pollinators. Look at this beautiful pepper. That is one of the plants that I was having trouble with. Let me see if I can get the light just right. It's hard when it's so bright and you have shadows everywhere. Look at all the peppers on the plant. What I did with this one is to get it off of the ground. I was having trouble with slugs. I mean, they were killing this plant. There's another pepper plant here that was going through the same thing, and I just recently got it up off of the ground. You see I have it sitting sort of on the corner. It's a heavy pot, but this rod helps to support the weight so it's not all on this shelf. And the deer, one got really close and snipped the ends off of that false blue indigo right there and right there. So I'm continuing to do everything I can to keep the deer out. I'm really proud of myself for the shelf in the back there. I'm sure that that gray shelf, the tall one, is a bathroom shelf. I bought it in a bag of just loose parts. It didn't have any instructions. It was at the reuse center. So I put it together and did not include all of the shelving because I wanted enough space to be able to put plants and have the foliage, grow up without hitting another shelf. And then underneath that, I have a little storage shelf that I took the top shelf out of. and that gives me room in the back for more plants. Zip tying this shelf to the structure in a couple of places helps make everything more sturdy. It really, really does. I have some issues out here that I'm not sure about. The leaves on the bottom here are kind of yellow, and it worries me that there's a spot forming on this one. I'm going to have to look into this really quickly. I've been reading about things that can affect gourds. There are beetles that like vines like squash and cucumber and gourds. I haven't seen any. It's also a challenge sometimes growing in containers. Oh, look down here. I love seeing that bees and flying insects are coming around to these plants. That makes me really happy, although I'm not sure what he's doing down there on the ground. And it kind of bothers me that this beautiful full bloom is on the ground. Maybe they fall when they're that beautiful and big, but I'm not sure. It's really pretty. There's so much that I could talk to you about. I did want to show you a few things. I have some space on this side of the greenhouse, and I've got corn back here, and I wanted to show you also, we get scrap metal all the time, shelves that have been taken apart. This again is part of a shelf, and I just bought pieces. They fit perfectly into these openings on the greenhouse. So I was able to just zip tie those into place, and it does give a lot more structure. My hope is to keep adding to all of this a little at the time so that I end up with more of a proper greenhouse. I would like to add windows and make it so that it's a proper greenhouse. This is enough space for me to do a lot of fun things. Let's back up and look at it. I've got my chimes on the outside. I would love to get an arbor so that I can go into the front and bring the fence out a little more on each side. I do it in steps because it's best. You can hear the neighbor kids. It's funny. It's best to grow into things, and I just don't want to overwhelm myself. I haven't spent a lot of money either because I'm on a budget. And one of the things I wanted to mention, I talk about urban homesteading. I cannot compete with people who have a lot of space. First of all, even if I had the yard space, I have a lot of trees, which means a lot of shade. And I have a lot of pine trees, which means probably an acidic soil. I think the main thing with urban homesteading and that mindset is to just do what you can with what you have. They are really having fun. That's a different yard. Those kids are a little bit older, which is why they sound a little older. But I want to learn how to do the most I can with what I have. Oh, let me show you the tomato. I was so annoyed. That tomato was so beautiful. The deer got to it. I had it in another area that was fenced in with fencing that's not as high as this. I believe they jumped it and just helped themselves. They stripped off all the leaves. Some of the tomatoes were gone, so I feel like I will be lucky to get anything from this. It does still have tomatoes, but they're not looking so great. Let me show you how pretty this is. We will definitely do more exploring in the greenhouse, and I have some really pretty containers, some pretty tins to plant things in. I gotta come back. I put curtain rods too. I zip tied those so that the gourds kind of stay up off of my head, hopefully. I mean, they're gonna hang down, but it'll keep the vines on a trellis. It's time to go get ready for work. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Bye for now.